Have you ever heard the terrifying story of the smiling man? The supposedly true story originated on Reddit a few years ago. A guy lived in a major city and liked to take long walks at night. He enjoyed the time alone as no one was usually out, until one evening, everything changed. He was out on one of his usual night walks when he noticed a silhouette of a man at the other end of the road. He was dancing strangely, almost in a waltz, but with every move, the man would end with a step forward. He appeared to be dance walking towards him. As he got closer, he saw the man's face. His eyes were maniacally wide open, looking up at the sky, and his mouth was formed in a painfully wide, cartoon-like smile. The guy quickly makes his way over to the other side of the street, giving the strange man room to pass him. He keeps walking, focusing on the sidewalk ahead of him, when suddenly, he froze as he looked over to find the smiling man had stopped dancing. He was now facing him, standing with one foot in the street, completely parallel to the guy, still smiling, but wasn't moving. The guy starts booking it down the street to put some distance between them. He turned back to find the street empty, and he's relieved for a second, until he notices him again. The smiling, dancing man had crossed the street to his side and was slightly crouched down. The guy, frozen in fear, stood there and just stared at him. When suddenly, the smiling man started moving towards him. He took giant, exaggerated, tiptoed steps as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving really quickly. The guy, completely terrified at this point, screams out, "What do you want?" The smiling man stands there for a while, then slowly starts to dance walk in the opposite direction. The guy stood there and watched him until he was out of sight. But then he realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore. The smiling man had changed directions and was running straight towards him with that same maniacal smile. The guy ran all the way home, afraid to look back at any point. When he got there, he turned around to find the smiling, dancing man was nowhere to be found. And the guy never took a walk alone at night ever again. I'll be sleeping with my nightlight tonight. How about you?
Creepy story time. The person who submitted this story hasn't specified whether they want me to tag them or remain anonymous, so we're gonna call her Kelly for now. And a slight trigger warning, this does have to do with So this happened on August 22nd of 2021. Kelly had just gotten home from school at 1 p.m. From the moment she entered her home, she felt a sense of panic. She ignored the feeling and decided to go into the kitchen to make herself a sandwich. While she's in the kitchen making the sandwich, she hears her dad calling her from upstairs, telling her to go upstairs and help him. When she goes upstairs, she sees her dad on his bed. When she sees him, he smiles at her and tells her to bring him a glass of water. Kelly went ahead and got him the water, and everything pretty much seemed normal from that point on. At about 3 p.m., she goes to use the bathroom. When she's in the bathroom, she can hear when someone's going down the stairs. She then hears when the basement door opens and the stairs starts to crack as someone is going down the steps. When she first hears it, she feels panicky for whatever reason. No one in her family likes the basement. They avoid it like the plague. When she gets out of the bathroom, she hears her dad calling her again. But this time, it's coming from the basement. She hears when he says, "Darling, I need some help down here. There's a dog trapped down here." As he's saying those words, she could hear a dog growling in the background. Without even thinking, Kelly went down the stairs. She opens the basement door and goes, "Dad?" She sees her father standing at the bottom of the stairs, staring back at her, giving her the creepiest smile that she had ever seen. Every alarm bell in her head was going off, so she decided not to go downstairs. When he sees that she's not going downstairs, he starts to scream her name, louder and louder, at which point he's shouting at the top of his lungs for her to go down the stairs. It almost looked like his face was morphing. That's how angry he looked. At this point, she realized that that wasn't her father. She didn't know what that was, but that was 100% not her father. Just as she's about to turn away, this thing starts to go up the stairs and she hears when it growls. Kelly slams the door, grabs a knife, and runs outside. When she gets outside, her phone goes off and it's her mom. Her mom lets her know that she was out with her dad and they were gonna pick up dinner on the way home and that they wouldn't be home until 7 p.m. Till this day, Kelly has absolutely no idea what she saw in her house and what it wanted with her.
When my daughter was 3, she came in my room in the middle of the night, woke me up and said, "Mommy, can you please get the little girl out of my room?" And I'm sleeping. I'm like, "What little girl?" She's like, "The little girl, she's jumping on my bed. She wants to play with me. She won't get out of my room." I'm like, "Oh, just sleep with me." So she slept with me. The next day, I didn't think anything of it. Then she comes to me and says, "I'm so sick of Daddy moving my toys around in my dollhouse. He comes in my room and plays with my dollhouse and moves them all around." I'm like, "I highly doubt your father's doing that. He probably banged into it by accident, making your bed or something." This went on for pretty much every morning somebody's rearranging my dollhouse. Didn't think anything of it at all. The only reason I thought of it was because one night, me and my husband come in from outside, and our oldest daughter comes and says, oh my gosh, Mom, Dad, the freakiest thing just happened. And we're like, what? And she's like, I came downstairs and Jen was in the kitchen. And then I see her walk by, so I walk to follow her in her room to see if she's okay. And I see her in her bed sleeping. But she was just walking. So I wanted to make sure that she wasn't tricking me. So, I tried to wake her up, but she was sleeping. She wasn't joking. I think I saw a ghost. And I'm like, oh crap. Jennifer said there was a little girl in her room. I wonder, So the next day I say to Jennifer, what does the little girl look like? And she said, she has long blonde hair, blue eyes, and she's white. She looks like me. Okay, because my daughter had long blonde hair, blue eyes, and I said, is she your age? And she said, no, she's younger than me. She's probably 2 or 3. Now, my daughter was 4, maybe 4.5. So I'm like, holy crap. So, I'm on the phone with my mom and my sisters, and I'm like, I'm freaking out. And I'm like, what the hell do I do? And my sister reminds me, I trash picked that damn dollhouse, like, right when this whole thing started going. But you don't notice little things, right? I was like, oh my God. I brought a spirit into my house by trash picking this, like handmade built dollhouse I thought was beautiful. Like, and that's the dollhouse the furniture was being arranged in. Her furniture. It didn't come with furniture. I just trash picked the dollhouse. Anyway, long story short, we ended up burning the dollhouse in the fire pit to try to get rid of the spirit. And then maybe 6 months later, my daughter comes to me and says, oh my gosh, Mom, we burned that little girl's dollhouse, and then she burned our house down. Because we were living in a hotel because our whole entire house burned down. Coincidence or creepy crawly? I have no idea.